We are going to be talking about leadership in the family. The Bible has told us, it says, women, submit to your own husband, for they are the head of the family. The men are actually the head of the family, and so they are the leader of the family. And that makes me to conclude that in every marriage that fails, with all humility, I put it to men that if any marriage fails, the men should be held responsible. And I have my facts. If our country, Nigeria, fails today, who is the head of the country? Who is the leader? Is the president. And so is every other country, the head of states, or whatsoever name that is given to anybody who heads a country. The person is to be held responsible. If a company fails, the person that will be held responsible is the CEO of that company. If a local church fails, the person that will be held responsible is the resident pastor of that church. And there is no difference between all these three examples with the family. It is still the same leadership. The man is the head of the family. And so if his family fails, just like the company, the CEO will be blamed, the resident pastor will be blamed for the church, and the president will be blamed for the country. So also the man should be blamed if his family fails. The Bible says, men, love your wife as Christ loves the church. Just like he says, women, submit to your own husband. That is a commandment because they are the head. Now, the Bible is telling us, it says, men, love your wife as Christ loves the church. How does Christ love the church? Church is you and I. We know how much Christ loves us unconditionally. That is why, despite the fact that he died for us in the cross, we sin every day, and each time we sin, we crucify him the second time. And he has not given up on us. That same love he has for us still remains. Now, this is the kind of love that God expects every man to love his wife. He says, love your wife as Christ loves the church. Now, the Bible says, I will build my church, and the gate of hell shall not prevail against it. I will build my church. Because I love the church, I will build my church. I am not going to blame Apostle Paul. I am not going to blame Apostle Peter. I am not going to blame the members of the church. I'm not going to blame the devil. But I will build my church. Which means whatsoever that goes on in the church, I should be held responsible. So it is in the family. Whatsoever that goes on in the family, the man has been commanded to love his wife. The Bible says, love your wife as Christ loves the church. Now the question is, how much do you love your wife? Or you are just asking for submission? You ought to love that wife of yours as Christ loves the church. See, let me tell you, if you and I wake up today to see that Christ that we proclaim, Christ that we profess, that we profess, we love Christ, we love Christ. If we wake up today and we see that Christ is not real, which is not possible, but if we see that Christ is not real, are you still going to follow this Christ? That is exactly what is happening to that wife of yours. Before a woman can submit naturally, she doesn't need to be cajoled to submission. She doesn't need to be beaten up to submission. She doesn't need to be reminded that there is a man over her head that she needs to submit to. It is love that makes us submit. Remember that subconsciously, unconsciously to us, it is when we remember the love of Christ, like on Easter Day, when we watch people acting drama about how Christ was crucified, we see ourselves get cold. We see ourselves reminding ourselves of how much this Christ loves us. That is the same thing that happens to your wife. If you render an unconditional love to your wife, she doesn't need to be reminded of submission to you. That wife of yours is not submitting to you. because of the maltreatment she gets from you. The Bible says, love her. Love. Just love her. It doesn't matter what she does to you. Love her as Christ loves the church. Her imperfection wife. His imperfection wife, the church. She's not perfect. The church is not perfect. You and I are not perfect. And yet Christ loves us. So you pointing out that my wife is stubborn. She's not submissive. That is why I am not loving her. It is your love, Oga, that will build that submission that you're looking for. There is no submission. There is no wife that is not love, that is submissive. Anyone that is doing it out of pains. Anyone that is doing it because she does not have option. She's not doing it from the bottom of her heart. She's not doing it because you're doing your own part. Remember that God is love. So love is greater than respect. Love is greater than that submission that you are demanding from your wife. That is why God commanded you that you should love your wife. Just love her. And this submission that you're asking for will naturally comes. I used to give an example. I said a man that loves his wife, the wife will go extra mile. She will do everything possible. She will not only submit. Your wife can die for you. Do you know what love can do? Do you know what your wife can do for you when you love her? And I wonder why you cannot love her. After all, you loved her the first time. That was why you asked her to marry you. So what stops you from loving her? You will say it's her attitude. It is because you stopped loving her. That was why you started seeing the beast in her. It is because you stopped doing your duty. Your duty is to love her. You are to build that family. You are to build that home. You are to nurture that family with love. But you feel that because you have married her, you have paid her bride price, it is your right to ride on her. It is your right to control her, to do anything to her. All she must do is to submit. Oga, it doesn't work that way. You are to nurture that family with love. See, I used to say that any family that if you want the best out of your family, love your wife. A lovely family is a loved wife. There is no lovely family that the wife is not loved. Some people will say, but there is a saying that a wise woman builds her home. Let me tell you, there is no wise woman that is not loved though. There is no any woman you see that is wise, that is building her home, has been given a place in that home. But some men has not given their wife a place in their life. They have not given this woman a place in that family. They have not told that woman, you're welcome to my life. Because they abuse this woman. Beginning from the time they married her, you have not allowed her to have a space. Let her even showcase. Let her even be able to exercise herself as a woman and show you that she can be a wise woman. You have not given her that space. Everything she does, she's in trouble. You cajole her as if she's a servant to you. She's a wife. What you are meant to do is to love her unconditionally. Forget that she's stubborn. Did you not say that she's stubborn before you knelt down to engage her? Most of you knelt down the day you went to engage. And for some of you that didn't kneel down, were you shouting at your wife the day you engaged? So why did you not continue that thing you saw in her? Why did you not continue with that attitude of love? Because when you love, she's going to submit. I am a woman, I know what I am saying. You may be saying she doesn't know what she's saying because you're a man you feel you can never love that woman any longer. It is because you know what you're doing. You have refused to love her. Remember how you used to love her. Love her again and you see submission. Do you know that a woman can pass a man's food on the table, and unconsciously to her, she can kneel down. She does not even know that she's kneeling down. Because she just wants to pay you back of this love that you have for her. How many times have you gone to the office and you put a call to your wife and you say, oh, I just want to tell you thank you for giving me your body. I just want to thank you for being that best woman in my life, even if you feel she's not the best woman. For the fact that she left her family and she's now with you alone is a risk she took. After all, you saw her among billions of women and you chose her alone. And she accepted because you actually loved her. So whatsoever that is going on in your life right now, you as the man, you are the cause. You need to love that woman. Love that woman and you see how your family will bounce back. But you have excuses not to love her and you are disobeying God. It's a shame when I hear that a man is filing for divorce. It means what you're telling God is, I have failed. It's a shame. When a CEO is unable to accomplish the goal of the company, he has failed. That is when you see a CEO resigning because he cannot continue. It is okay to hear that a woman filed for divorce. Yes, she's fighting for her rights. Just like the country, when the country is failing, the people in the country will begin to fight for their rights. When the company is not working, everyone who is employed in that company will not be comfortable. That is what is going on in your family. That woman is not getting what she ought to get. And you will say, it's because she's stubborn. It's because she's see, let me tell you, that attitude you see in that woman right now, most times she's fighting for herself. You have debased her enough. You have humiliated her enough. You have made her feel less of a woman enough. She's fighting for herself because she no longer feels that those talents she had, those gifts she had as a woman, she's no longer seeing it in her because you have debased her. You have taken these gifts she had away with your bad mouth. You have dishonored her enough. That is what is happening. She's fighting for herself. You are saying she has changed. You changed her with your attitude. Love her back and see whether you will not see those things that you used to see when you knew her the first